Welcome back, beautiful and amazing human beings. This is Luke Radowski of WeAreChange.org, and of course, I'm joined by Jason Burmis, all the way in upstate New York, and we're going to do what we always do and give you the news that you're not supposed to know about that happened this week.
Absolutely, Luke. And we have a proxy war going on in the Middle East. U.S., Russian, Chinese, Israeli, Saudi Arabian interests coming to a head. And guess what? No one seems to be talking about it.
Yeah, for some reason, the mainstream media, the Western media especially, doesn't like to, actually recognize that when world powers like Russia and China sponsor one faction in a smaller war, while the other side, the United States, Israel, and Saudi Arabia, finance another faction and they fight together, that is called a proxy war. And that's exactly what's happening right now inside of Syria, and it's escalating to very dangerous proportions. I mean, just this Saturday, after a supposed alleged Iranian drone infiltration of the Israeli airspace, the Israeli military decided to respond by bombing Iranian and Syrian government forces inside of Syria. When this was happening, the Syrians decided to actually fight back, and they shot down an Israeli warplane. Israel is now calling this a breach of their sovereignty, but obviously this is escalating to very grave proportions. Israel has answered back after their jet was shot down by saying that they are doing a large-scale attack on the Syrian government and Iranian forces inside of Syria right now. Of course, the United States is backing Israel on all of these very provocative, extremely important moves that are developing as we're speaking right now. But the Syrian government is actually answering back and saying, well, you guys can't use this drone as an excuse for attacking us since you've been attacking us for years. And the Syrian government is saying, you guys have been coming in and bombing us when we've been fighting rebel groups, including ISIS, and still you take their official side going against us. So obviously this situation is a very messy one. I'm trying to explain it as much as I can, but even I'm getting confused during this explanation because there's a lot of propaganda and misinformation out there. Of course, we have the IDF and Israeli government saying that they heavily struck the Iranian forces inside of Syria. The Syrian government and Iranian forces are saying you didn't do anything. I mean, just right now, the Israeli prime minister said that the airstrikes dealt a severe blow to Iran. The Syrian government is answering back, being like, nothing really happened. You guys didn't really attack us at all. So this is a very important incident because even the Israeli government is saying, well, it wasn't shot down, this plane crashed. The Israeli government is saying the drone was the provocation for this. The Israeli government is saying that's it, we're escalating this. But this is the first time, honestly, since 1982, since an airplane, Israeli warplane, was shot down by enemy fire. The first time, of course, was during the Lebanon War. This war is expanding, and the implications are going to have greater ramifications since it's not only Syria and Israel that are involved here. We, of course, have Russia. We, of course, have China. We, of course, have Hezbollah and Iran on the side of the Syrian government. And we are seeing a lot of strong messages by Putin right now, who just got on the phone call with Netanyahu and told them to avoid these dangerous escalations as soon as possible. Now, of course, Tillerson from the United States called Netanyahu and said, we have your back. So these two superworld powers, they're converging and they're coming to a head. And an important aspect the mainstream media is forgetting here is that once again, the Israeli government is on the side of the rebel groups. And there's actually a new UN report that just came out a while ago, actually. Let me double check this. Let me fact check this. Yes, there's a new UN report saying that the IDF was actually maintaining regular contact with ISIS members during the conflict that was evolving inside of Syria. So that's how strongly the Israeli government, alongside Saudi Arabia and the United States, want to get rid of Bashar al-Assad and the Iranian influence inside of Syria, that they're willing to even join radical Islamic terrorists like we've seen them, and now we're getting more evidence of happening right now.
That's right, Luke. And the United States' goal, whether it was stated or not, is to get rid of the Bashar al-Assad regime. It has nothing to do with ISIS. And when there's this large power struggle between us, the Russians, Saudi Arabia, China, well, we only have more chaos to ensue. We've far from seen the last of this. And unfortunately, this is going to pull us further and further into a destructive, warlike scenario with big superpowers. But I want to talk about another global player. We got to move on because as we talk abroad, we have somebody making a big move, another big move. And that somebody is Jeff Bezos. Jeff Bezos is now going to be launching his own shipping service that will go up against FedEx, UPS, and he's starting in Los Angeles. But Luke, we know where Jeff Bezos starts. He intends to finish globally. This man is about global domination, sir.
Well, definitely. I mean, we just found out through WikiLeaks that he officially works with the CIA. Amazon, Jeff Bezos, they have contracts with the Central Intelligence Agency. This man is buying up Whole Foods. This man is buying up the Washington Post. This man is buying up huge amounts of influences, and we've been concentrating on him for a very long time because literally, if you look at the up-and-coming people, at the up-and-coming next most powerful, most elite, most richest people in the world, Jeff Bezos is number one on that list.
That's absolutely right. In fact, this January, if you're looking at the numbers, the mainstream media numbers, he's supposedly, Luke, the richest man in history. Let me repeat that. He is the richest man in history. And let's talk about this just for a moment. He owns a major media outlet, the Washington Post. He has a CIA contract for their cloud service that was only revealed to us through WikiLeaks. He has bought up a large-scale, very popular food place, Whole Foods, and he is far from done. So what are we saying here? We're saying we need to keep an eye on this guy. His influence has grown so much over the past decade plus, and Luke, it's set to grow even further.
Yeah, I mean, he may even get a Pentagon. I believe he may even already gotten a Pentagon program and a budget where he's going to be supplying the Pentagon with supplies. So just with that CIA breach, we only found out about that because of WikiLeaks. What else is this man working on that we don't even know about now? And of course, he's entered into the world of quantum computing and artificial intelligence, which should scare the utter crap out of everyone and make everyone poop their pants because of the godlike powers that these few technocrats are establishing within ourselves. Now, to segue, Jason, this is, obviously someone we need to watch out for, someone we need to look out for. He even has the evil villain haircut. He has a bald head. All the markings are on the wall. People, Jeff Bezos is someone that we need to be extremely skeptical of and look out for, especially with his emerging power that he is gaining every single day. Now, before we go on to the next stories, we're just going to shotgun through these because there's so much news happening, Jason, right now. It's hard to expand and go on tangents about them, but these were the two stories that I think should be highlighted this week. What other stories are you seeing this week that people should know about?
Absolutely. Now, you look at Duarte. For those that don't know who this guy is, he's making rumblings across the globe, Luke. He is the president of the Philippines, and he is in this embittered, very violent drug war. So now the Hague is saying, well, we might be bringing you up on charges, sir. And what is his response? Shoot me, don't jail me, to the Hague prosecutor. And the reason I bring this up is because this guy is making a lot of headway in the mainstream media. People either love him or hate him. And this is a very, very, very complex issue. As you and I both know, in most cases, governments run the drugs. They work with the cartels. So this story is far from over. He's being painted like a villain in some respects. He's been painted like a hero in others. I think the truth lies somewhere in between.
Exactly. Some people love him, some people hate him, but after personally visiting the Philippines, after living in Manila, I have to say drugs aren't the major problem in the Philippines. If you study John Perkins and have ever read Economic Hitman, Philippines is the perfect case study for the economic hitman and the kind of corporatocracy that is ruling over there and taking away resources from all of its people.
Absolutely, Luke. And we are going to move on to the next story. The Las Vegas shooter autopsy has now been released under duress, really. It wasn't really going to be released. The Associated Press, the Las Vegas Journal, they sued, they got that release. And according to the press, because again, we don't have access to this autopsy report as of yet, Luke. It hasn't made the internet. But they're trying to say even though he was on antidepressants, he was sober at the time, it's not giving any insight. I just want to know, why has it taken so long for this to be released, and why did it have to go to court in order for two news journals to get this, including the Associated Press? It doesn't make much sense.
I mean, the government is pretty much putting their foot in their mouth by how much they're willing to not disclose and how secretive they're behaving while they're changing up the darn story of what actually happened in Las Vegas, which again is a major event that's not getting any major attention by the mainstream media. But these bigger updates should be talked about, and they're not. But that's why you're here watching this channel.
Absolutely, Luke. And for our final story, kind of a shocker, really, that this could absolutely be possible, and not only possible, but is happening in a small community in Pennsylvania, which really isn't that far away from us. But a fire chief has just been elected, a volunteer fire chief, and this guy has been convicted, Luke, of raping a 4-year-old girl. A 4-year-old girl. Now, if that story weren't enough, the local mayor is defending this move.
A politician supporting pedophiles. Not a surprise there. If you watch this channel, you've been paying attention to what's actually happening in this world. Over like a year ago, you would have brought any of this up. You would have been like, no, that's a conspiracy theory. That's never happened. It's happening, and it's deranged. Like, we're living in a society, in a world where everything's upside down. There's no reason this should happen. There should be more outcry. There should be way more severe punishments for pedophiles. This is just, I don't know, Jason. Hearing stories like this just make me wonder, like, what is wrong with people?
Well, absolutely, and I think it is a microcosm for larger instances of people in power not only doing this sort of thing and partaking this sort of thing, but also covering up for others that are involved, even when they are not. And it breeds this culture of people that are in prominent positions that we're supposed to look up to, that are doing the most vile of things and committing the most vile of crimes, Mr. Radowski. And that's going to do it for the stories this week. Folks, we need your support. We need you to go to youtube.com/wearechange. Hit that like and subscribe button. Share this video with others. Be the change that you want to see in the world. And without that, Luke, we're doomed. We need people to step up.
Yeah, we're getting our butt kicked, especially by YouTube and the other forces out there. It used to be that we used to get arrested and censored and told to shut up by authority figures. Right now, what we're going through is soft censorship. Our ability to go live has been taken away, which has hindered our ability to be as productive as we can, especially when I'm on the road. So there's a lot of things going on right now, and we need you guys. We love you guys, because if you weren't here, we weren't here. So again, Jason, I want to thank you again for working with me patiently. We had so many technical difficulties trying to pull this off, especially trying to rearrange everything. Definitely follow Jason on his Twitter account, which will be in the description below. I love you guys. Thank you again so much for watching. Stay tuned for more here on youtube.com/we are change.